Hey everyone, this is Krisha Young here, your coach and mentor. Um, what I wanted to talk to you about today was the discomfort of change. So, what happens when we embark in any kind of personal development change? When we start to really see the truth of like how we've been showing up or the decisions that we've made or whatever, it can be a really scary place to be into because we don't want to think so badly about ourselves, even though we might be running a real toxic dialogue inside of our heads that is all about beating ourselves up. Um, but when we see the truth of how we're showing up or our relationships or whatnot, it can be kind of scary to take a look at that. And what ends up happening is we create a ton of tension inside of our body, right? So we're at an intellectual level observing and seeing the change that we need to make, the behaviors that we had that were like, ooh, gosh, yikes, yay. Don't want to do that anymore. Don't want to be like that anymore. And what that is a releasing of an identity of ours that we've had forever. It's a releasing of an ego-based way of being. And what happens is when people are looking at change and they're embarking on change, and they start to see the truth of what's not working or what needs to go, what needs to change, or whatever. What is happening at the same time is our bodies become incredibly like stressed out and very uncomfortable, and it might feel different for each of you. So for myself, what I feel is a lot of tension inside my body. And if you are disconnected to your body, meaning that you have no idea how your body feels, I would really recommend you do some body scan meditations, do some dancing, really start to spend some time getting to know your body, because our body communicates with us at a really deep level. And it is part of the messenger system that keeps us in a pattern and keeps us in a loop of repeating the same crap over and over and over again. Okay. So getting back to what I was talking about, when I start to feel the tension of the discomfort of what it is that I don't want to look at, I feel very clangy, very jangly, very tense inside my body. Like it is just a real incredible tension inside my body. It is an adrenaline pumping through because my nervous system is on overdrive. My adrenals are on overdrive. So I'm coursing my body with the hormones, the stress hormones that are creating this chemical reaction inside my body. And it is a sensation that is really uncomfortable. And what that sensation does is it creates even more panicky thoughts, even more loud, shouty thoughts, even more self-flagellation, right? Oh my God, I wish I hadn't done that. Oh, I wish, if only I hadn't said that, or whatever the self-flagellation is, depending on what the scenario is that you've now opened your eye and you see the truth to, that you want to change in your life, right? You want to, it's hurtful to see the truth of how we've been showing up. And so with that body sensation, we then get the shouty voices, and that creates even more of a body sensation. And so the loop continues. And what ends up happening, and this is my point here, okay? This is discomfort. So when coaches and people in the personal development space or the spiritual space or whatnot talk about the discomfort of change, the be uncomfortable in the pain, like be in the pain, be in the discomfort of change and all that kind of stuff, right? This is exactly what they're talking about. This is what it means to be in that discomfort. So it's this real tense sensation in your body. And if you're not connected to your body and you don't understand what's going on, it's going to be even worse for you, because you're receiving these messages from down here that you don't even know are coming from down here. And it's just creating a lot of spinning out thoughts, right? Which are even worse. And they might be causing like so much anxiety for you, like so much anxiety and even depression. So, but even if you are connected to your body, you can still feel that body resonance, and then it creates that loop in your head. And this is where people stop, because we want to break. There's too much tension. There's too much tension in that. It's too uncomfortable. It's too terrifying. It's too scary, right? When we know we're on the precipice of making a decision or making a change, and or letting go of a part of us that's been part of us for a long time, the pattern that was created from the trauma, right? It's been your best friend your whole life up till now. And you're working on yourself, you're clearing the energetic cords, you're clearing the traumas that have gotten you to where you are right now. And every single time you do it, there is a distinct discomfort that comes with it. And this is where people stop, because it is just way too uncomfortable. The key is to stay with that discomfort. Stay there. Let it be there. And this is where it is critical for you to have practices like meditation, going out in nature, dancing, right, to music, not in a nightclub while drinking, in your living room, right, alone. Having some solitary self-care practices during the time of that tension, when you're embarking on a change that you asked for, right? I don't want to do this anymore. I want something different. I want a better life. I want, right? And so now you're in the precipice of getting it. You're in the precipice of making that change once and for all. And then you stop yourself, because the discomfort is too uncomfortable. It's too tense. And most people do not have the tools that they need in order to be able to traverse that. And even myself, I meditate all the time. I have a ton of tools. I teach this to people, and I know this discomfort. And the closer and closer and closer you get to your core root patterns and root belief systems, the scarier and more uncomfortable this sensation gets. And so if you do not have these practices in place, if you do not meditate, if you do not have very deeply instilled practices within your day-to-day life, then what can happen is you'll bounce off this. You'll bounce off it. You'll say, you know what? It's too much. The thought of leaving my partner and all of the problems that are gonna come with me leaving, it's just not worth it. I'll just stay, right? The thought of giving up this piece of my identity, this piece that's been with me my whole entire life, you're not actually consciously thinking that. You really, really, really want to change this thing. But there's something there that it's like, I don't want to give this up because I don't know who I am without it. Those are not conscious thoughts, but that's what's going on. And so then we're like, okay, flatline. Oh, thank God. But what that does is it brings us back. It brings us back a lot. Not as far as what we were, but it brings us back. And then what happens is another incident occurs and you're like, damn it, I knew this. Why am I still here? Why is this still happening to me? Because you haven't allowed yourself enough time in that discomfort to allow it to dissolve, right? That discomfort can dissolve at some point. It might take a day, it might take a week. We don't know. It's what you resist persists. And when you're sitting in that tension and you don't want to feel that tension, it's going to be there. It's going to be there. It's going to be there. And the moment you surrender into that tension, the moment you get into your practices like meditation, like dancing, like going into nature, and so on and so forth, the moment you decide to focus on your inner game and not what's going on externally, is the moment that tension can start to dissolve. And then what happens is you transcend. That's what's meant by the word transcend. This is how you transcend this one particular way of thinking, this belief system, this pattern, whatever it is, so that you can evolve and grow into your next version of your freaking amazing self that is dying for you to do this work. Dying. So allow that tension to be there. This is the unknown. It is a deep precipice of change, and it is really cool, and it is so awesome, and it is a great place for you to be in. So if you are right now in the presence of embarking on some sort of personal development journey, and you're working on yourself at a deep level, and you're hitting up against this tension and you keep sliding back, you're either doing this on your own, or you're doing it with a coach who's not holding strong enough space for you, who's letting you off the hook every time you get tense, right? Your coach and your mentor and your therapist should not be letting you off the hook at this point. This is where they need to be holding your feet to the fire to say, no, do you want to go back to the old way of being, or do you want to hold on during this? Surrender, let go, relax, so that you can transcend it, okay? So recognize that there are coaches and mentors and people out there who will hold you accountable for this deep transformation, so that you can get to the other side. Because that's what you want ultimately, right? Is to get to the other side of that tension, but not in a collapse, go back kind of way, in a surrender, I release, I no longer need that pattern, I no longer need that belief, I am at peace with all of this now, and I can now move forward and not drag all of that crap with me, okay? So this is why when you think that you have done all the work, and then you're finding yourself in a place again going, what the what? It is probably because you have not actually transcended the root thing, because you have not allowed yourself to be in the tension long enough, and or worked with somebody who is able to hold that space for you to be able to do that exact work. It is very, very difficult for us to do it for ourselves and on ourselves, especially at the beginning, because we want to just like, it's easy. We can just give up on ourselves in that kind of way, right? We can convince ourselves. The brain is very, very, very clever at convincing ourselves that we got this, we can do this on our own. We did it, yay, we transcended it. When actually we did not. All we did was release the tension and go back. But we think we've transcended it, okay? So I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear your stories in getting to this tension point, getting to this point of change, and what happened. You know, did you flatline and go back? And then what happened when that happened? Have you been able to actually dissolve that, surrender, and transcend an actual deep pattern of yours? And if so, I would love to hear from you. You can send me an email at krisha@krishayoung.com. You can reach out to me on Facebook. You can, reach out to me on Instagram. Visit my website, krisha@krishayoung.com. And if you want more tips and tools and strategies for you as a leader to really step up into your greatness, then grab my Calm in Your Chaos guide, which is basically the anti-burnout strategy for leaders like yourself who do not have the time to be burnt out, right? Like, who's got time for that? Not you. And that is what I'm here to help support you and leaders like yourself to do in this lifetime. So Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening, and share with me your thoughts on this video, and please make sure that you connect. I'll see you in the next video.